In the grand tapestry of history, some figures stand out as symbol of glory, while others become icon of tragedy. This was the reality for Nicholas II, the last Tsar of Russia, who ruled from 1894 to 1917. His reign was marked by political turmoil, military defeat, social unrest, and personal tragedy. He witnessed the rise and the fall of his government, the outbreak of two world wars, and the brutal execution of his wife and children. From his opulent coronation to the cataclysmic downfall of the Romanov dynasty, Nicholas II's life was a whirlwind of power, passion, and untimely, profound suffering. Join me as we delve into the lavish court of the Russian Empire, witness the wind of change sweeping across the nation, and uncover the human side of the ruler who was both revered and reviled. Rise to the throne, the birth of a Tsar. Nicholas II was born on May 6, 1868, at Alexander Palace near St. Petersburg. He was the eldest son and heir apparent of Alexander III and his consort Maria. He had three younger siblings, Tatiana, Maria, and Olga. Nicholas received a military education from his tutor, General Nikolai. He was fond of sports, especially horse riding and hunting. He also enjoyed reading books and history, literature, philosophy, and religion. He had few intellectual pretensions, but was curious about many things. He married Alexandra Fyodorovna on November 26, 1894, at the St. Isaac Cathedral in St. Petersburg. She was a German princess who was converted to Orthodox Christianity before marrying him. She was beautiful, intelligent, kind-hearted, and devoted to her husband. She shared his interest in music, art, gardening, and animals. They had 5 children: Olga, Tatiana, Maria, Anastasia, and Alexis, who suffered from hemophilia. They lived in various palaces across Russia until they moved to Tobolsk in Siberia in 1905 due to Alexis' illness. Nicholas became emperor 1894 after his father's death. He was crowned at St. Isaac Cathedral on May 26, 1896, with Alexandra by his side. He adopted the title Tsar instead of emperor because he felt it's more appropriate for a Russian ruler. The Gilded Cage, a life of opulence. With his accession to the throne in 1894, Nicholas II stepped into the world of unparalleled luxury. The opulence of the Russia court knew no bounds, with extravagant balls, glittery jewels, and an army of servants at his beck and call. But behind the facade of grandeur, Nicholas faced mounting challenges. The Russo-Japanese War, fought between 1904 and 1905, ended in a humiliating defeat for Russia. This loss sparked unrest and discontent among the Russian people, leading to the 1905 revolution. Nicholas was forced to make concessions, including the establishment of the State Duma, a legislative assembly to appease the growing demands of political reform. In 1914, World War I broke out, and Russia's involvement in the conflict proved disastrous. The war strained the country's resources, causing food and fuel shortages and leading to widespread discontent. Nicholas, who assumed direct command of the Russian army, was blamed for military failure and loss of countless lives. Rasputin's shadow, a Tsarina influence. These conflicts drained Russia's resources and strained its relation with other countries. They also exposed its military and political weaknesses, as it suffered humiliating defeat and heavy casualties. The most disastrous war for Russia was World War I, which began in 1914 and involved most of the major powers of Europe. Russia joined the Allies, Britain, France, and later the United States, against the Central Powers, Germany, Austria-Hungary, and later Turkey and Bulgaria. Nicholas took personal command of the Russian army in 1915, leaving Alexandra in charge of the domestic affairs. This proved to be a fatal mistake, as Alexandra was influenced by a mystic named Gregory Rasputin, who claimed to have healing powers over Alexei's hemophilia. Rasputin gained access to the royal family and interfered with the government, appointing and dismissing ministers at his whim. He also became the target of rumors and scandals, as he was accused of having sexual relations with Alexandra and other women. The storm brews, a nation in turmoil. As the 20th century dawned, Russia stood on the precipice of change. Social unrest, economic hardship, and political discontent culminated in Russian Revolution of 1905. We witnessed the rise of revolution and movements, the birth of the Duma, the growing divide between the Tsar and his people. Nicholas' attempting at reform were met with resistance, laying the groundwork for the catalysm that will soon consume the empire. In February 1917, a massive uprising broke out in Petrograd, now St. Petersburg, the capital of Russia. The Protestants clashed with the police and the army, who eventually joined them. They stormed the Winter Palace, the seat of the government, and forced Nicholas to abdicate on March 2, 1917. He was succeeded by his brother Michael, who also abdicated the next day, ending the Romanov dynasty that had ruled Russia for over 300 years. The fall of an empire, tragedy, and revolution. Nicholas, Alexandra, and their 5 children were placed under house arrest in the opulent yet suffocating confines of the Alexander Palace. Cut off from the outside world, they clung to each other to support and sought solace in their faith. However, their hopes for a peaceful resolution were shattered with the arrival of tragic news. In July 1918, the Bolsheviks, led by Vladimir Lenin, overthrew the provisional government and seized power. The fate of the royal family took a tragic turn when they were transferred and subsequently executed by the Bolsheviks on the night of July 16 to the 17, 1918. The news of their tragic demise sent shockwave around the world. The fall of Romanov dynasty marked the end of an era, leaving an indelible mark on Russian history. The legacy of Nicholas II and his family will be forever entwined with the specter of revolution and the thirst for freedom. The aftermath reflection on a troubled reign. As the dust settled and the Soviet Union emerged, conflicting narratives surrounding Nicholas II began to take shape. To some, he was weak and ineffective ruler, disconnected from the needs of his people. Others saw him as a tragic figure, a victim of circumstance, who tried, albeit unsuccessfully, to steer Russia through a period of immense change. In years following his death, Nicholas II and his family were canonized as martyrs by the Russian Orthodox Church. Their remains were discovered and reburied in St. Petersburg in 1998, and in 2000, Nicholas II and his family were officially recognized as victims of political repression by the Russian government. Their remains were interred in St. Petersburg Peter and Paul Cathedral, solidifying their place in Russian history as symbol of the tragic end of the Romanov dynasty and the era of Tsarist rule. Nicholas II's reign was marked by a combination of political turmoil, military failure, and social unrest, ultimately leading to his abdication and the Russian Revolution. His legacy continued to be a subject of historical analysis and debate, with some viewing him as weak and ineffective leaders, whilst others sympathize with the challenges he faced during a time of significant change and upheaval. The life story of Nicholas II is a tragic one, as he was the last Tsar of Russia and the last of the Romanovs. He was a man who loved his family, his country, and his faith, but who failed to adapt to changing times and the demands of his people. He was a victim of his own mistakes, his wife's influence, his enemies' plot, and his fate. He was a symbol of the old order that was swept away by the tide of history. He was a martyr for some, a tyrant for others, and a mystery for many. Nicholas' story transcends the individual. It reflects the intricate interplay between ruler and the subject, the delicate balance of power, and the profound impact of historical events on the life of ordinary people. It serves as a cautionary tale of the danger of arrogance, detachment, and the peril of ignoring the wind of change. So, how might history have unfolded differently if Nicholas II had embraced reform earlier in his reign? What do you think of Nicholas II and his life story? Do you admire him, pity him, or condemn him? How do you think Russia would have been different if he had not been executed? Let us know in the comments below. Ready for more royal intrigue and timeless tale? Check out the next video on screen to uncover another fascinating chapter in history. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay up to date with all things royal. See you in the next video.